Looks like there's two intruders on the property. Welcome back to the garage. Or if you're new to the channel and this is the first video of mine that you've seen, welcome to the garage. My name is Zane. In today's video, what do you say we get some work done on the old International project truck?
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
You know, the more I think about it, I probably should be more specific on which International I'm talking about working on today, and that's my 1968 International Travelette. We'll do a brief walk around and I'll show you the truck's current condition. I'll also break the power washer out and clean it up a bit, and then finally we'll move to the step in trying to diagnose what's wrong with the engine before I go any further with this project. But not only will I be cleaning this truck up, I'll also be using products from the first ever sponsor to this channel, Super Clean. Before I get too carried away, I want to make sure to do a good walk around of this truck so I can visually show you the condition it's in before I start messing with it. I bought this truck about 4 months ago. I haven't done much to it aside from drag it to the spot it's in now with my forklift and rob the carburetor off of it for the wrecker that's sitting in the background. But maybe you're not familiar with the channel, or you might have missed the video when I picked this truck up. It's my 1968 International Travelette 1000. This actually belonged to my dad, who sold it over 25 years ago, expecting to never see it again, until one day I randomly ran across it in a farmer's field. I wrote the farmer a nice letter, and I was lucky enough to buy this truck back and bring it back into my family. But before I ever try to do anything to it, I want to show you its condition, and we'll start at the front of the truck. And the first thing that jumps out at me is this homemade bumper. This was on here when my dad bought it. It was homemade. Somebody done a fairly decent job. You can see the nice tow hooks that are on both sides. The grill guard is actually made out of plumbing pipe. You can see the threads over here. But whoever built this still done a good job. It protected the front of the truck from getting completely destroyed, so it served its purpose. The passenger side headlight trim is in good shape. Marker light's broken out. The valance that goes underneath the grill is nice and straight. The grill itself has some blemishes, but if I can't find another, I think the ones can be worked out of this one, and it can be polished back up and look nice again. It actually has the International logo still in it. Driver's side headlight trim is banged up pretty good. The marker light is not in terrible shape. This fender still has the 1000 logo on it. It also has the International and the all-wheel drive badge as well. The front door on the passenger side is in fairly decent shape. There is a little bit of damage down here at the bottom. There's a slight crease in the back in this area. Has these weird Ford truck mirrors on it. I'm not sure what year they were, but I think these were put on afterwards. You can see where it used to have the West Coast style mirrors. The rear passenger door, the skin is pushed in, but I think that can be worked out. I'll try to get the damage out of it at a later date, but the door does open and shut actually very well. Some damage to the cab corner here in the back, as well as the front of the bed. The bed doesn't appear to be rusted out. You can see the wheel wells of the truck are cut out, which we'll go over that in a minute. The bed cap on this side is pushed in pretty bad at the bottom and rusted out. Taillight lens is in really nice shape. The tailgate has seen better days, but it still does open and shut. The rear bumper is a lot more crude than the front one. You can see the tow hooks on this one have been broken off completely. Bed cap on this side is in decent shape until you get to the bottom. It's pushed in and rusty. But other than the wheel wells being cut out of this bed, the floor seems pretty solid. The bed sides aren't terrible. There is a little bit of damage down here to the front of the bed. The driver's side rear door on this side is in very nice shape. There's a little bit of filler on it The front door is pretty rough. You can see some filler above the door handle. And down here in the front, it had been curled behind at one point. The hinge is also broken on the inside, so this door is a little bit difficult to open up. This fender is missing both of the badges, the International and the all-wheel drive. These International trucks are known for rusting in the cowl area, and this truck is guilty of that as well. The passenger side looks exactly the same. But even though this truck is pretty rusty, I think you're going to really like where this project is going to end up. There's a lot of sentimental reasons why I want to fix this truck up. I've got a lot of plans, which we'll talk about in a later video on the series. Let me go ahead and show you under the hood. Now, when this Travelette was born, it left the factory with a 304 V8, but currently it's sporting a low mileage 345 out of a Lodestar. I was told that the original engine that was in this truck still ran. It just lost power, so it was replaced by this low mileage equivalent. The only problem being, this engine came out of a Lodestar with a 10-speed manual. This truck has a 5-speed, so the difference in height of flywheels is causing this engine to be stuck. It won't turn over because the flywheel is actually striking the inside of the bell housing. Now, I was told that's what the deal is with this engine, but to be completely honest with you, I don't really even care if it had the original engine in it or if there was one in it at all. I always thought that if I could ever buy this truck back, I would want to really make it reliable where it could be a daily driver, and that's what I've got planned for this truck. I've got an engine that I can put in it for the time being to get it moving and running under its own power for phase 1, but in the long run, I think you're really going to like the way this project is going to end up. Alright, now that most of the walk around is done, it's time to talk about today's video sponsor, the first ever video sponsor to the channel, and that's Super Clean. So let me take you down off the camera stand and I'll show you what they sent for me to try out.
What's in the box?
Super Clean was kind enough to reach out to me a few months ago and ask if I would be interested in using some of their products on this channel. I told them yes, but I had no idea they were going to send me a care package with over $50 worth of cleaning supplies in, so I greatly appreciate that. They even sent me this nice t-shirt and this baseball hat, even though I don't normally wear baseball hats because whenever I put one on, I think I look like that kid from The Sandlot.
Okay, got it.
But anyways, I'll show you what I got. I got a bottle of their Tough Task Cleaner Degreaser, a 3-pound jug of their floor absorbent, an aerosol can of their cleaner degreaser, a bottle of the wheel cleaner, and a bottle of foaming Tough Task Cleaner Degreaser as well. This is what we'll be using on the truck down there. But it's an amazing feeling to have a company reach out to me and believe in my channel enough to send me this stuff to try. Just let this be a little bit of an inspiration as well if you're watching this video and you have a small YouTube channel as well. I don't have 1 million subscribers, so just because you don't have a high subscriber number, that doesn't mean that a fantastic company like Super Clean won't believe in you. But anyways, let me grab this bottle, we'll take it down to the truck and see what it'll do. The old rig cleaned up very well, if I do say so myself. Now before I go and try to diagnose this engine and do anything to it, I want to try to answer the million-dollar question that a lot of people have tried to guess on this truck. What type of wheels and tires are on this thing? These are actually 40-inch non-directional military tires off of a Gamma Goat. I'll go ahead and throw a picture up on the screen if you're not familiar with what one looks like. But anyhow, the tires and wheels came military surplus from a guy that my dad knew. And then he had a local welding shop cut the centers out to adapt these military wheels to the International bolt pattern. And if I do say so myself, they make this truck look pretty sweet. I also wanted to mention in this video and set the record straight that my dad isn't the one that actually butchered the front fenders and bedsides on this truck. This thing was kind of rare even back whenever he bought it, so never in his right mind would he have done it. It's pretty sloppy. You can tell that somebody used a torch. I mean, these front fenders are warped pretty bad. But whenever he picked this thing up, it actually was sitting on V-tread flotation tires because a trenching company here in Missouri actually used this thing like a shuttle bus on their property. What they would do is clients would come and buy their equipment, and then they would also get to talking about hunting. And this family had a 300-acre farm, and they would take these clients, drive them around in this old truck on the property, and show them different spots where they could hunt at. Now, the reason that I haven't done a video on this truck is the fact that I got a hold of that company, and I tried my hardest to try to find a picture whenever this truck was in their possession, maybe sitting on their farm, in the background of a picture somewhere with those tires on it, and sadly I could not come up with one, so that's why it took so long to make this video. Like I said, I got a hold of one of the people that worked there. He was a very nice guy. His family owned this truck. He actually did remember it on the property, but he just could not come up with a picture. So anyways, I wanted to throw that little bit of trivia into the video, but other than that, let me get a piece of cardboard. We'll slide under this truck and see if I can confirm the fact that this engine is locked up. I tried getting a better angle for the camera, so I apologize about that. I'm not sure if you can really see much. But I noticed whenever I picked this truck up that the dust cover is not on here and the flywheel is exposed. I don't really need to prove it to myself that this engine is locked up, because whenever I drug it over here, it seemed like something was in a bind on the truck, even with the clutch in. So I've got a pretty good idea that there's something bound up in here, but I did want to prove it to you. So I got this bar. I'm going to put it in the teeth on this flywheel and see if I can pry against something, and we'll see what happens. That's about as good as I can get with the camera angle. So I've got this bar. I'm going to pry on the opposite side of this flywheel, and we'll see what it actually does. Of course, you want to always be careful to make sure not to break one of these teeth off. Wouldn't be such a big deal if a flywheel and clutch kit wasn't over $500 for this truck. Wait a minute. Well, it does spin, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Unfortunately, this is the end of the first video in the International Travelette series. The next video should be the will it start on this old rig. We'll see what happens. It's a major plus that the engine isn't stuck, but it kind of makes me wonder what is. When I drug it to the spot it's in now with my forklift, it seemed like something was still in a bind, so I don't know if it's in the transmission itself or the transfer case, possibly even the front or rear end of the truck. Who knows, maybe I'll get lucky and it's a brake that's stuck, but I don't know, I'm not going to count on that. Just need to do a little bit more of investigating and see what turns up. I also wanted to say that I haven't had a video out in almost a month. I do apologize for that, and I've got some pretty good excuses as of why.
I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for cab fare.
Okay, enough with the joking around. Let's see if this excuse is actually any good or not. But for those of you that watch these videos regularly, you'll know the fact that I work for a county highway department. I actually am lucky enough to drive a brand new 2021 Mack Granite dump truck every day, spreading rock, hauling asphalt, hauling equipment, all that kind of good jazz. But I will also help out on other crews when need be, whenever they're short-handed. And the paving season has been a little bit different this year. There's actually a left-hand and a right-hand paver operator. The guy on the left does a majority of the work where I'm at, where the right-hand side of the paver just controls the seam in the road and moves the wing in and out. Well, the right-hand operator quit, and they asked if I would help out since I ran a paver at the city. I told them yes. It would only be for about 2 weeks, they told me. And I started working with the left-hand operator, and he found a better job and quit, so it looks like I'm stuck on there for another 6 weeks. So getting loads of asphalt that are 325 degrees on a 105-degree day, it isn't a big motivator to get outside and do something. So I'll try to get some stuff accomplished still. I think I'm stuck on the paver for another 6 weeks or so. So the things might slow down around here a little bit, I'm not going to lie. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment or a question down below. Consider subscribing if this is the kind of content that you're into. And as always, just a friendly reminder that it doesn't matter if you're working on your project in a garage or in your driveway. What matters is that you go out there, you do the job yourself, and you learn more about your project, whatever that project may be. Now that this video's over, how about you go outside and work on something? My name is Zane, and I'll catch you next time.